up, YouTube? Welcome to another video in the house of Dula. We are continuing the On3 turbo kit installation on my FOXBODY Mustang here. It is perfect outside. I've got a lot of things to show you. Mainly, we're going to be today working on the fuel system. I got some new parts we're going to unbox to help supplement the fuel system. And I'm going to show you guys some of the issues that I've ran into. So I'm going to keep you up to date on what I've done for the last video to now, and then we're going to be doing some installs on it today as well. So that's pretty cool. One thing I did do, and I didn't video the whole thing, was install the YPipe. If you don't know what the YPipe is, it's an additional component from LMR, or you can get it directly from On3. So On3 produces it, and it's meant to work directly from the downpipe to your stock style catback system. So it allows you to run your mufflers with their YPipe, and it's stainless steel. You can see here that it's really nice construction, I think, and it's solid. It's got really great welds on it. I was really impressed with the quality. I think the welds look really good on it. I had zero issues installing, or no issues really that anyone would have installing any catback or muffler system, especially when you're doing it on the ground and garage floor of your garage. I did have a clamp that totally busted on me. V-clamp. So basically I was having a problem getting the YPipe where it mates up to the dump. Kind of had an angle on it, so that angle was causing a bind, really because just the way the whole system was binding up. I'll show you that in a second, but nonetheless it is on and it looks really good. But I did over tighten that clamp and bust it, so I had to wait a couple of days to get some new V-clamps in. So without further ado, let's just jump right in and get started. Yeah. Okay, look at the motor. You can obviously see some things have changed here. If you watched the last videos, one thing you'll notice first off is that we have the downpipe on. Downpipe is wrapped. I've got the O2 sensor, the wideband O2 sensor hooked up. This goes to my AEM wideband gauge on the pod there. That's a really cool system because it's got a direct output that is going to go right into my micro squirt. So basically that is meant to have direct outputs or feed outputs to go to data logging or computers. In this case, we're going to feed that output directly into the micro squirt. And that's how the computer is going to get data from the wideband that's right here. Now this thing fit actually decent. It slipped right in. The biggest concern was my AC accumulator here. This thing was in the way. I had to bend it. I had to flex it this way as much as I could and pull it over. So I basically put some leverage on it, bent it out this way, and it twisted it and got it off the side of the frame. But you can see that there's just barely enough room to stick my finger between the YPipe and the frame, but it was hitting this accumulator and it was bumped up against it. The other side of it is actually touching, believe it or not, the header. It's kissing it. Otherwise, the pipe fits pretty good. I'm running a PTP wrap on it because we also have the PTP blanket. This is done. I think it was okay. I can't say it's the best job I've ever done on a wrap, but nonetheless, there is a right and wrong way to do this stuff. Make sure that you have, the woven or sewn edge on the exposed edge, not flipped over. Otherwise, it could fray. So, otherwise, this is on. It's got some stainless steel wraps on it, and it goes about down. Well, you can see where it ends right there. I really need to get some more to extend it down a little bit further, but basically, this is going to help keep a lot of this heat out of the engine bay as much as we possibly can. Everything around it, we don't want to melt. So this was necessary, and it's going to be hopefully very useful. Again, I just don't know until we fire this thing up. Let's show you the YPipe real quick. Alright guys, this is the YPipe. It's actually in 3 sections. You get this piece here that's hooked up to your downpipe right here with a V-clamp. And you get another piece here, which is going to be the dump. This is where you can put cutouts. I have every intention of one day putting some electronic cutouts or electronic dumps here, so we can flip a switch, open this up and run straight exhaust, and then it goes out to your YPipe. So the YPipe actually splits back to your stock exhaust, and in this case I'm running a MagnaFlow exhaust system. So right here is where it goes from actually right here is where it goes from a 3-inch out from your downpipe down to 2.5 inch and then splits off. So you can see it actually fits really well. I'm surprised. I've tucked it. You can rotate this stuff, and I've opted to put it on this side of the car and angle it slightly down just so I don't blast the side of the car with exhaust whenever I have it open. But it is a low spot, so we're about to see how that goes. Otherwise, I do want to take one quick second to talk about the adjustability of these Y-pipes. You can't tell quite from here that this section right here on this weld is actually at a taper. It's angled. What that means is whenever you spin or twist this exhaust pipe, it's going to change where this is angled and where it's pointed to on this end. So that was extremely useful, and I used it and twisted it many a times to adjust it to get it away from my cross member. So the cross member is just right up here. Of course, I can put my hand through it. It's got enough clearance through the cross member, and it also helped angle this pipe back this way towards the car, which helped align my Y-pipe to the back exhaust. So otherwise, I think it turned out really good. It looks nice, and I love the fact that I can keep my stock exhaust, which gives me that nice kind of sleeper look without sounding too obnoxious. I'll let you hear that turbo spool and the blow-off valve and wastegate open up. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait. Yeah. But also, let's quiet it down, man. I got a system in here too. I want to hear the sound. I want to hear the stereo when I want to. When I want to open it up, we'll have it. The stock exhaust will be a little bit of a restriction. They do say, you know, with a turbo, you want as much flow out of your downpipe as possible. So, yeah, you don't want really a tight exhaust on it. In this case, I don't care. We're going for that kind of sleeper-ish Mustang with just boost. So, fun car. Let me show you what else I've done. Alright, in the previous video, or in another video, I talked about the fuel lines, and I talked about relocating the fuel pressure gauge here. So you'll also notice that, hey, I've got fuel rails installed. So this is what I did off video, and I swear I almost felt guilty about doing it, not showing you guys. But to be truthfully honest, sometimes I just get a lot more work done putting the camera down. In fact, a lot more work. I could do probably 6 times the amount of work when I'm not filming, but that's okay. I do it for you. And this has got the BBK Fuel Rail. It is on now, and it looks good. We haven't tested it for a couple reasons. This is what we're going to try to resolve today. The first problem, and I knew this might be a problem, so I went ahead and test fit it, but I stuck the intake on after I installed the rails. And this bump right here on my trick flow upper intake squishes right on top of the fuel injectors here. So that's not going to work. I'll show you what we got to fix that here in a second. Second problem with my fuel rail is these lines are incredibly stiff. These were like unbelievably hard to screw onto, believe it or not. And they're super thick lines. I mean, look how much more fuel volume you're going to get in these versus your stock ones over there. So here's the problem though. So of course I had to disconnect the fuel lines. This is your return. It will go into this one. It's just your standard lock. So really just for a peace of mind, I decided to get these rails on it just to ensure myself that no matter what, we're going to have plenty of volume of fuel within the rails, always ready to go to any aided injectors when they need it. So finally, let's show you what I did, what I bought to resolve this stuff. Package from LMR, man. So everything in this box is going to hopefully resolve everything I just told you about. First off, we've got braided fuel lines. This is going to replace both of the lines of the hard lines that are going from the bottom of the engine up to the top. So these are not obviously a nicer line, much better looking, but it's in my case necessary to get rid of those bends that are forcing it right into the turbo. There's one. Second, yes, I did buy this. I have a Kerbin fuel pressure regulator, and even though it is boost referenced and it will work just fine, I didn't like that it didn't have a port on the side of it for the fuel pressure regulator gauge. So to make sure I got the right part, I opted and went ahead and got myself an Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator, really just because I know that this is a good one. It's 1-to-1 boost reference. Every pound of boost that this received, it increases a pound or a psi of fuel to the rails. So that's necessary for boosted engines, obviously, but it also has the port on the side where I can move my my fuel pressure regulator gauge too, which is cool. And last but not least, here is a genuine TFS. Yes, guys, it is a 1-inch spacer. And I didn't want to have to do this, but I have to do this because the intake is smacking the injectors. So it's also going to help reduce the, obviously the heat. This is a phalonic spacer. It's like a plastic resin material, super hard, but it's not made of aluminum or metal, so it's not going to transfer the heat from the lower of the engine up to the intake, which is going to help really with the cooler air charge. And this thing should have come with everything needed. It comes with gaskets for both sides, and it does. I see them right there. And it comes with the extra hardware with longer bolts to accommodate for a thicker spacer. Basically mimic the same exact setup and make your hoses yourself. I opted not to do that, go the easy route, but I had to live with the unfortunate blue and red. I want to make sure we get this angle correct, but I want to get this thing away from hot parts. In fact, what you don't see here, and what I do plan on doing, is also wrapping this the same kind of heat shielding we put on the clutch cable. So first I just want to make sure it's routed correctly and everything goes to where it should go. There we go. Alright, man. Okay, so they're on. They look really good. Just kind of need to get them tucked away. These will tuck really nice up against the motor, which is why we got the braided lines. The whole point of it. I'm not going to go ahead and connect the bottom yet because I do want to go ahead and get some heat sleeve for it and wrap these before we tidy everything up and check the fuel pressure. So let's go ahead and just, since why everything is kind of here and out, let's go ahead and take this off and get the new fuel pressure regulator installed. Okay, so I did run to Summit, and I'll tell you why. I just got a Summit bag right here, but I went ahead and got the fuel pressure regulator mounted, and we'll go over that in just 1 second. So it is mounted onto the BBK mounting plate, and I've gotten the fuel lines taken off because, one, they're loose, so yeah, I need to tighten them. So guys, remember, if you buy this stuff, check tightness, don't just throw it on like I did. Anyways, I pulled them back off because now's a good time to go ahead and wrap them. I figured while they're off, let's just go ahead and take the time to put some DEI wrap on. This stuff is a DEI heat sleeve. This is unfortunately pretty expensive, but this is a 2 foot long by 5/8 diameter and a Velcro. So you can actually put this on the car or put this on your lines while this stuff's on the car. You don't have to take them off, but I figured while they're off, we'll go ahead and get them wrapped and get them kind of ready to put on. So I've gotten 2 of these. Actually, I got 3. I bought a spare just in case. Otherwise, I'll return it. Okay, as you can see, I moved the fuel pressure gauge to the side here, and this is, I think, right now the best spot for it. It's secure, it's solid. We just need to watch it, make sure there's no leaks. If there's any leaks, of course, we're going to try to repair it. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and pressurize it. I do have braided line. If I want to move it later, I can do that. But anyways, we got a lot of fuel stuff to replace. We have the injectors that have been put on. We have the new fuel rails. We have new braided lines, and all this stuff's been put together. So hopefully, cross your fingers, no leaks. Let's go see what happens. Okay. We've got pressure, and I've got a drip at the fuel fitting right here. Alright guys, so I'm not worried about this fuel leak right here. That's all me, because that is a fitting issue. What I'm worried about is that it is dripping profusely on both sides of the mount. And I guarantee you this is tight. I had questions whenever I mounted this stupid thing. It didn't seem like a solid mount to me. It had 1 O-ring, 2 tiny screws that's supposed to keep the fuel pressure 60 psi all on top of that rail. Just without a groove or without any kind of a channel. Just O-ring sits right flat over a hole on the rails, so it does not work. These rails suck. Do not go buy the BBK rails. It's a horrible design. I've had nothing but problems with them, FYI. So I get to call LMR tomorrow, see what they can do about it. Otherwise, all my fuel lines are perfect. There's no leaks there. The one thing that does leak is the manufacturer component. Damn it. All this has got to come back off. Yeah. Alright. Okay, I know it's hard to see it, but that right there is my BBK fuel rails. On the garage floor, on the driveway, where they belong, because we've got the stock ones back on. And that's the ones we're going to roll with, man. So, I'm holding pressure. Of course, there's no leaks in it. The fuel system primed, no problem. Put the stock ones back on. Everyone I talk to said I'm going to have no problems with them. I'm going to rock these. I just am. I'm tired of the cheap Chinese crap, and I hate to badmouth BBK. That's the first real BBK product I ever bought. But dude, that thing squirted fuel, no joke, out of the end cap, halfway across the garage floor, and then leaked profusely from the base plate. I thought maybe I forgot. Maybe I forgot the O-rings, so I took everything apart. Lubed the O-rings, made sure everything was really clean. I cleaned it up, put everything back on, took my time, make sure everything was nice and seated, put it down, screwed it on real nice and tight, turned it on, same exact thing, made zero difference. Luckily, thank you, LMR. I called those guys up, or actually I sent them an email, told them what happened, gave them the order number. So this is my second one, look, no big deal, I just want my money back. And they are more than grateful to take my money back. So thank you, LMR, for understanding, that's really cool. And guys, we're gonna rock the stock fuel rails. I know I talked about supply, I know I talked about everything, but hey, look, you saw me make a mistake on the channel, and you're seeing how it really is. This is what really happens. You get parts, different things look, you know, make other things change. But the reality is, I mean, this fits the air motive fuel pressure regulator just perfectly. It puts the gauge where I want it. There's no obstructions. If anything, I may just have to put a 90-degree elbow on the hose there for the vacuum. And otherwise, everything is working out pretty good, man. And I'm just happy I could finally move on. Get away from these fuel system woes. It's starting to give me a damn headache. And I've talked to a lot of people who have been running these stock fuel rails up to 500 horses and some above. So I don't know. You know what? If we start getting above that horsepower levels, and I start seeing that the fuel is starving on the tune, then we'll worry about it. Right now, I need to move forward. Couple days have passed again, and I've got a couple things to show you before I wrap this video up. One is that we went ahead and modified the bracket here for my clutch cable. I reversed it, flipped it over, and just used some hammer work there, and got it nice and tucked in tight and away from the headers. So that pulled it in really close, tight to the frame, and it's holding up really well. So that is done. I also made a bracket for my fuel lines with some scrap steel. And I know it's hard to see around this rusty sway bar, but this right here, this bracket right here is actually tied in to the side of the block right here. There's an empty spot here for some accessories, probably for the smog pump, and this is wrapping the fuel lines up against the block super tight. So I got that done. I also had a leak in my nylon line right here. So this guy had enough, it had bent, and it finally created a leak. So again, another fuel leak here, guys, and what I ended up doing was cutting it completely off, and then heating this just oh so slightly with a heat gun until it got soft enough to push it back onto the fitting. And then I used one of these super tight super tight cable ties. So I had to order those, wait for those to come in, and it's these guys here. So these are the ones that actually crimp on. And I got this set on Amazon. It was actually really pretty cheap. I think it was like 15 bucks, and it came with the tool to crimp it on. So these are going to go absolutely nowhere. And sure enough, I went ahead and pressurized the fuel system. No leaks, everything's good. So last time I pressurized it, it took me a day or two to figure out that the pressure was dropping a little bit. And I went underneath the car, saw that that line had a really tiny leak in it, enough where you could wipe your finger on it and the fuel would show back up. So, God almighty, that crosses off the fuel system. It's done. And I got the bracket done to pull the fuel system up against the block, the fuel lines, and I got another bracket done over here. So, we still have to do the PVC system. PCV system. We still have to do the PCV system. That's a positive crankcase ventilation, and get it figured out so we can vent all those gases out of the block. I've got an idea for it. What I'm probably going to be doing is buying dash 10 fittings here, and that'll be put on each side of the valve cover, and then dash 10 will go to a maybe dash 8 or 12. I don't really know, but anyways, we're going to put a fitting. They make baffled screw-in fittings for this. You just have to drill a hole in your valve covers, and then we'll run that probably to some sort of a breather and a catch can, oil catch can. So just add more hoses to it. I also took the time to take the AC compressor off and paint it because it looked really bad. Now it's black. It looks pretty good. I'm going to do the same thing with this hose up here because it is front and center. You know, you do see it as soon as you open the hood up. The AC compressor is right here, so I want to make it look decent. I just took some time to really just throw some flat paint on it, and I need to do the same thing with this hose. So, man, a lot accomplished, a lot more to go. I'm about to start taking the bumper off, and we're going to start working on the cold side. And once we get that done and the PCV system, we'll be firing this thing up hopefully fairly soon. It's a lot of work, and we're getting there, and you're sticking with me, and I appreciate you, and thank you for watching because you guys are awesome. And I know these videos are long, but there's so much to cover. This takes way longer than the video show. Trust me, this is 2 weeks in the making probably just for this video. So stay tuned, it's coming. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. Make sure to check out my link down below that goes to my Google spreadsheet on all the costs on everything that I've been spending on this build, along with the links of where I bought them and all that kind of stuff. So do that. Make sure to subscribe so you get updates. And we're ending it here. We'll see you guys next time. Take care.